I just wanted to give you a rundown on what I did, swapping out the factory landing lights for the AeroLED SunSpots. And what I ended up doing was taking the existing 5 amp circuit that we had up here for landing lights, turned that into a taxi light circuit, and added a new 15 amp circuit. Just tapped off the main bus bar, got some new labels made, and added that 15 amp circuit to power the new landing lights. They need about 13.2, 13.3 amps. So I ran 4 new wires from each wing root out to the existing light, and 3 of those need to come down the pillar to go behind the panel, and that is 1 ground, a wigwag hot, and a constant hot for just regular on lighting. The 4th wire actually gets connected and just goes across from wing root to wing root. That's a signal wire because these lights have built-in wigwags or pulse circuitry, so you don't need the control box behind the panel anymore. I ended up having to swap out the switch and get a double pull, double throw that was position 1 was off, on, but because the only switch that will fit is on in the middle, both on for position 2 and 3, that reversed the circuit or the labeling that we had on the main panel that put the wigwags in the middle and on at the top. So because that was reversed, I ended up having a new panel made, new label that actually is off, on in the middle, and pulse or wigwag on the top. So I had Jim up at Engravings Unlimited in Yakima that does all of the work for Cub Crafters. He did all these panels for me, made me the new label for the taxi switch, the new label for the landing circuit breaker, the 15 amp circuit breaker, and also swapped out the label for the previous landing circuit and turned that into the taxi circuit. I did make the new harness that goes from wing root to wing root so that I could test everything and make it easier to connect. So just put some Molex connectors on each side at the wing root. Same thing out at the lights, and then made a pigtail harness out there to connect all of those up to ground, hot, pulse, and signal. So pretty easy project. I think to run the wires out to the wing probably took about an hour, but I was doing that by myself. If you had a helper, you could just do that probably in 15 minutes. Use a fish tape, pull 2 pull strings, and then pull 2 pairs of 2 14 gauge wires out there. Pretty uneventful. So the new setup is really nice. I put the micro sun taxi lights on the cabane struts down below because these lights, being in a tail dragger, and we're sitting about 13 degrees, 13 and a half degrees nose up, because they're so bright, about 11,000 lumen, they're just way too bright to taxi out. You can still see the ground, but if you were taxiing out and somebody was on final, you would be blinding them. They're just extraordinarily bright. I just use those for wigwags when I'm flying, so other people can see me. But on landing, doing some night landings the other night, it's pretty incredible. They really light up the runway. And then once again, using the micro sun on the strut as my taxi lights, and those are incredibly bright also. They need to be angled down also due to how bright they are. They do light up the runway a little bit when you come in, but for the most part, because you're looking so far ahead, the sunspots on the wings really light up the entire runway. So that's the project. Hope you enjoyed it, and if it's something that you'd like to do, you can talk to Ryan at AeroLEDs up in Idaho. I know all of these lights, they sell them at Aircraft Spruce in different places, but well worth the money, well worth the effort to get those put in. Thanks.